A home is made by people, a sense of community, family, love, laughter. Khayelitsha means new home. 2 words. Khaya means home, Licha means new home. The idea of the fears that people have around this place. And it saddens me, because all the negative publicity that we always get, it's not something that occurs every day. And I believe that there are a lot of issues that we need to address as the people. And I believe there's a lot that we can do and share with the people about our communities. For me, it's the opportunities that are within the area, the investments that are made, the lives that are changed, the upcoming people that we have, the talent that's undiscovered, the stories that we have. Khayelitsha offers cultural experiences, the flavor, the spices, the real people, Ubuntu.
They always talk about New York as a concrete jungle. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's how I see Khayelitsha as. If you make it here, you can make it anywhere in the world. The people of Khayelitsha, we've got dreamers. We've got people who are passionate about the things that they do, people who create things out of nothing, entrepreneurs, some hustlers that I see on a daily, people trying to make ends meet. So those are the people of Khayelitsha. I have an anthem that I wrote for Khayelitsha. It's called I Love You Khayelitsha. And why that? It's because in the song I'm describing Khayelitsha as something that is beautiful and as to what many people know it for. I would say in the media, people know it with another angle, but what I'm painting in the song is the people that I normally see, especially I studied from myself. I'm a dreamer. I cannot forget about that. There's beauty in that. I'm a hustler. There's hustlers. There's modelers. I mention in the song that there's a whole lot of beautiful things that happen in Khayelitsha, and I say they are my angels. So an angel is something that is pure, and that's what I see in the people of Khayelitsha. Angels that are gonna just take this community to greater heights. This song is for my angels, ekasilam ewe. This song is dedicated to my angels, ekasilam. I love you, Khayelitsha. I love you, my hood, ikasilam. I love you, Khayelitsha. I love you, my hood, ikasilam ewe. Ekasi gwela ma hustlers, ekasi gwela ma dreamers, ekasi gwela ma producers, ekasi gwela ma singers, ekasi gwela ma tourists, ekasi gwela ma everything. Kasilami kasilame, Khayelitsha kasilame. That's the one.
For dream is important because it gets to bring you into what you want in terms of life, and out of you want to create as well. So dreaming, it's like you have to, and it's like every time you get into that one, there is always a new one that you want to achieve. Today, yes, I may be sitting in my coffee shop But 11 years ago, it was a dream, you know. Now I need to run it and sustain it now and look for other dreams in how to go forward with it. So yeah, you have to keep on dreaming like every day. Khayelitsha and Cape Town, I feel like if I can make a comparison, like if this was Soweto, Joburg, because people, they like to compare Khayelitsha to Joburg, Soweto, and I feel like that side there's more opportunities, you know, because there's so many politicians, celebrities that are coming from the township. And if you look at Cape Town, there's none of that. It's like we are in Khayelitsha, that's Cape Town, and people who are coming here, it's not like people, it's people who are working corporates and stuff like that. There's none of that, and I feel like we are missing so much in how we can integrate the two communities, Khayelitsha and Cape Town, and because there's stuff that are happening here, you know, that needs support, you know, in a sense, from the people that are in that side, you know, than versus them being there and still go, you know, and not really coming and, you know, contributing or invest back into the township like that.
It's mostly is dominated by Xhosa speaking, followed by colored as well. So you get a lot of variety in terms of the spaces that you will go to, the conversations that you will hear from people who are talking around Khayelitsha, the things that are happening in Khayelitsha. So some people are more religious, some people are more like spiritual in terms of like African spirituality. Other people are more political. So you get really like a variety of things that are happening in Khayelitsha. I grew up as an artist. I live art. I think I am in art myself. Art is important to me because it opened the door whereby I will be able to express my feelings, which is something that most of people do not really have in terms of the freedom of speech, to practice that freedom of speech. But art do allow us to practice that gift as well, to speak through our art, to speak through our mouths and through our writing, obviously. But now the thing is, with art, you need to understand that everything that you say or everything that you draw, it might be taken by a viewer or whoever that will be seeing or viewing your art in a different perspective. So that is what I love about art, because it gives you that freedom to think, to be more critical about it. Okay, if I were to compare art piece with the people of Khayelitsha, I would compare with abstract, because I think there's a lot of thinking around what is happening in Khayelitsha, which is something that will get around abstract. Because when you see abstract as someone that doesn't know art, you will see just like an unorganized mess. But from an artist perspective, you will know and understand that there are a lot of things that were considered in putting the paint together to make this piece a wonderful piece. So I feel like Khayelitsha is more like that. You need to be here to understand Khayelitsha, to live in it, to know about everything that is happening into it. So which is something that I will find in an abstract work.
Because out of anything that you've ever heard about a township, Khayelitsha dismisses all of that. The first thing you are taught about a township is that it's a struggle. The first sight you see about a township are the shacks. But unfortunately, when you come into Khayelitsha, you get disappointed. Because when you see Khayelitsha, it's actually a well-constructed environment that has the formal side, from the houses that were developed when Khayelitsha was being established, to the new development that Khayelitsha is currently undergoing from the investment that's coming into the community. So pretty much Khayelitsha changes your perspective about what actually is a township, and still carries that history and heritage of where most of us come from, which is like the older townships like Gugulethu or Langa, but with the new edge, because we are young. Khayelitsha is not just young in terms of its development, but also the people that are found here. We have one of the youngest populations, but also we have a culture of entrepreneurship, which, if you understand, in any city, it's all about the grind. It's all about getting to make the next buck. No one does it better than us, from the businesses that you see around our community to the new establishments. We'll tell you we have the first hotel, we have the best coffee shop, we have the best nightlife space. We always tell you we have the best of whatever that the city has to offer. So definitely you want to make a pop-by into a Khayelitsha and visit a township, I'd feel like you're a local. I think the future of the Khayelitsha as it is today, it's more young people coming up with more great projects. Even in our circle, we've seen a lot of people starting to take up space and wanting to do great initiatives that empower the next generation. As it is, we know that what we started has inspired more people to also start their own initiatives. So we're bound to see more communities coming out of the Khayelitsha that are really pushing for progress. But most importantly, we're about to see more people coming into a Khayelitsha and starting to lose some of that fear of I can't go there because it's far, or I can't go there because of safety. If anyone knows the Khayelitsha, we always love joking and saying we party 6 days a week. But if you're a local, you know that's a fact. It's not a joke. We party 6 days a week, and it's not just locals. It's literally anyone else coming in. So for most people who know that, they plug into that lifestyle and they start establishing their own ventures. So I think Khayelitsha will soon become like one of the leading entrepreneurial spaces that people want to go to, whether it's lifestyle or tech, or even just social impactful projects as well.
Community is important to me because it is a set of people that live together, that I think are supposed to love each other, which is the purpose of having a community, is to love each other, is to support each other, is to make sure that we get we got each other's back. Every now and then we check up on people. You live with people because we are human beings. So to have other human beings around you, it is very important.
Life happens in the township, and people in the township are now wanting to take ownership of their own spaces. Townships, for me, are a place where a lot of development still needs to happen, and that's where opportunities are coming in.
My dream is to make a huge difference in the South African context of there is a huge of unemployment in where we live. If like on a random drive inside the location, you get to see people just chilling, you know, because there's no jobs and stuff like that. But if we bring a conversation of upskilling people and teaching them other new ways of doing things, you know, versus the way that they only know, and I see, you know, me playing a big role in that, not just showing them how to make coffee, but how to roast as well.
How Khayelitsha fits into the Cape Town space, in my understanding, as harsh as it would sound, is that we are in the Cape Flats, as they would describe it, and how distant we are from Cape Town itself. It's like the forgotten child that is just there. And yeah, that's the relation that I would say Khayelitsha has with Cape Town. There's a bit of disconnect, I would say, in my own opinion. But with that said, it's always nice for that forgotten child when they come home and they are embraced as part of this home, because Khayelitsha is Cape Town and Cape Town is Khayelitsha. Both these just need to be intertwined and come together and show the beautiful contrast that is there.
We're a city on its own. But if we're looking at the broader scope of Cape Town in terms of how it's developing, how it's really giving back, then I think Khayelitsha is a great pilot. Because unlike other townships, Khayelitsha has proved to be self-sufficient, it's independent, and it's also working in conjunction with all the other things that Cape Town has to offer when it comes to attractions. So we have our own beach, just like the waterfront has its own coastal line. We have our own hotel, just like the waterfront has its own hotel. We have our own nightlife spaces, just like the waterfront has its own nightlife spaces. So they'll say Shimi, we'll say Rands. They'll say Campspear, we'll say Monwabisi. They'll say Long Street, we'll say Spine. Literally two parallels. But one is looked at a modern city and the other is looked at as a township. But if you're talking about the vibe, one and the same. So I would definitely feel that Khayelitsha carries its own weight and has shown that actually if you want to get a lot of the hidden gems in the city, you can't neglect us. You definitely want to come this side. You want to see how we want to grow Cape Town and how we want to influence other townships to be like ʻkaɪlitsha. If you want to talk about safety, you also want to come to ʻkaɪlitsha because we have a way of looking at safety and addressing it differently compared to how people have always perceived it. And if you want to talk about the growth of business, come again to us. If you want to talk about tech, come to this side. So definitely ʻkaɪlitsha is not just another township. It's as I said, a city on its own that's slowly growing, and eventually, who knows, we might say there's the Western Cape, there's ʻkaɪlitsha.